Welcome back to the Spector Creative channel, and if there's one thing I can say from starting this channel in 2020, we have gotten lots and lots of fan mail, tons of it, and well, by fan mail I mean comments in the comment section, and I always respond to all of them, and it's great to interact, and from this I've learned what people want on this channel. Like, for example, people are asking for more and more videos about Snout Spout. And, of course, people want to know why my family celebrates Arbor Day by blowing up trees with presents surrounding them. Well, today's video is a sequel to one I made previously that I do get a lot of comments for, and that is what is in a name, and specifically, what is in a name of a toy company. The last video I did spotlighted some of the larger toy companies out there and what their name means and how it came to be. And, well, in response to those comments, I'm more than happy to reveal further secret origins because, hey, there's nothing cooler than a toy company and there's nothing cooler about a toy company than learning what it means. So, hey, by popular demand, we're going to roll out more of the larger and smaller toy companies and explore how they got their names and what their names mean and how it led to their success and or failure. Well, mostly success. Failure meaning they may just not exist anymore, but, you know, no toy company ever fails, right? All right, let's first talk about Jada, a company I actually worked for quite a while, and one of my favorite experiences working in the toy industry. So Jada is a toy company located in the city of Industry, California, and they are most known as a competitor of Hot Wheels in the fact that they make and specialize in die-cast cars. These were the first product they made, and when they landed the Fast and Furious license, their die-cast market really took off. Now they do a lot more than just one movie. They do many movies in cars, and they do figure form too, including the Nano figures, which was invented by a brilliant marketing VP who was at Jada for a while, but unfortunately had to leave due to the commute. But he definitely left behind a really cool form factor for them to do. Still miss working on these things. Anyway, enough of that. So what does the name mean? Well, it's kind of like those old Sesame Street shorts you would see where the two-headed monster would put words together. R, un, ra, un. Well, it's kind of like that. So Jada is run, or is ideally run, by a father and son team. The father is Jack Lee, who does not get photographed, and there are no photographs of him in existence, but he definitely exists. And the son, Daryl Lee. So when Jack formed his company, the idea was he wanted it to be a family business and for his son to take over, and that became J.A. Jack and D.A. Daryl. J.A.D.A. Jada. And that's what Jada means, Jack and Daryl. Family-owned business. All right, the next company you probably guessed already based on this image is Lego. Yeah, we all have Legos. We all step on Legos. We all collect Legos. So it's no secret that it was started by Oral Kirk Christensen in Denmark, and you can see tons of videos on YouTube about how he did this and the history of Lego, which is actually really amazing, and I highly recommend them. They started off making wooden ducks and eventually went on to become the world's largest toy company, surpassing even Mattel a few years ago. But what does Lego mean? I mean, we all know what it means to us. It means, having a fun time. Well, being a company that is based on Denmark, they use a word in their language, which is leg godot, which means play well, shortened to Lego. And there you go, play well. Denmark for leg godot, play well. All right, moving on from a big company to a smaller one, LJN, the rainbow that was on the back of all of those Nintendo games that were impossible to play. I don't know what it was about the LJN games, but they were like, I don't know, they never quite seemed to look like the movies they were based on. But for action figure and toy collectors, we may also remember them from some of their awesome toy lines in the 80s, like Thundercats and the WWE figures, as well as the fun cross-dressing E.T. with pink hat, and Oodles, which had a limited life. So the toy company was founded by Jack Friedman, but he got the money to make the company from his money man, Norman J. Lewis, who funded the company. And, well, when you're the money man behind a toy company, you get to name the toy company. So LJN is just Norman J. Lewis in reverse, his initials. in reverse. That's what LJN means, Norman J. Lewis, but Lewis J. Norman, I guess one could say. Hey, cool way to name a toy company. Tonka Trucks. We probably recognize them. They were founded originally as a metalcraft company in Minnesota and were originally known as Mound Metalcraft. They originally made different tools, garden tools specifically, for gardening, shovels, rakes, that type of thing. And when they experimented with making die-cast vehicles, well, the vehicles took off and the garden tools didn't, so they became a toy vehicle company. And Mound Metalcraft was an odd name for a toy company, so they went with Tonka, which was a version of the word Tonka, which is a Sioux Indian or Native American word, which means strong. So you also see the word Tonka showing up in other things like buffalo meat with cranberries in a baggie. Hey, they're gluten-free. Or the Tonka Foundation, which supports the return of buffalo to their native lands. So Tonka comes from Tonka, and it's just sort of an Americanized version of the Native American word for strong. Spin Master. Now this one is a mystery. Spin Master is a crazy, crazy name that you actually have to really dig deep to understand how they used it as the name of a toy company. They are one of the bigger growing companies today, the inventors of Paw Patrol, and kind of made their name doing Bakugan, as well as Meccano, and many, many girls' lines as well. And they are definitely one of the up-and-coming toy companies. So their name is a combination of spinning, which is a very kind of toy-esque phrase or word, because a lot of toys spin like tops, and master. So they figured out that if you take two words and put them together, it could actually mean a third word. Unbelievable.
So then, mono means one, and rail means rail.
All right, going from a toy company with an obvious name to one that's a little less obvious. You remember Radio Flyer? Well, I mean, they still make them. Those wagons, those awesome red wagons that have become part of Americana. Well, Radio Flyer was started with a company owned by Antonio Passan, who in 1917 started making metal and wood objects in his home shop. Mostly he made tools, for actually making things, and he created a small wooden wagon to lug the tools around in. Well, the customers started asking him for a wagon themselves, and eventually wagons became the biggest part of the company and overtook the tools. So wagons once used to lug the tools were now the actual object they were making. Antonio Passan has been remembered in his hometown with an honorary street, but what does the word Radio Flyer mean? Well, it combined Lindbergh with Marconi, who were two of the huge heroes of the time when the Radio Flyer wagon was introduced, Marconi being the inventor of the wireless radio device to communicate long distances between ships, and Lindbergh being a flyer. So hence the two heroes of the time, the two hot new technologies, radio plus flying, Radio Flyer. It was all that was the rage. It was like combining two things people already love, like chocolate and peanut butter, or, war and peace. Do people love War and Peace? Well, the book's pretty good. I don't know if they like the war part. But either way, it was a combination of two words that people could relate to. Calico, or ColecoVision. So this is an interesting one. We all know Calico if we grew up in the 80s because, well, they were kind of everywhere. Calico was founded by Maurice Greenberg, who started the company. Well, actually, he purchased the company. He's the one who turned it into a toy company, but it predated him. It's known in the 80s for things like Cabbage Patch and Sectors. Originally, Calico was the Connecticut Leather Company. See, Calico, Connecticut Leather Company. They made, shockingly, leather goods, like shoes. In World War II, their business really took off, and with the additional capital from selling so many shoes during the war to the U.S. government, they came out with the Davy Crockett Moccasin Kit, which they brought to New York Toy Fair, and it was a runaway huge smash. In fact, this one SKU did better than their shoe sales that year. So, knowing where the money is, they switched from making shoes to making toys. Started with a leather shoe toy, but eventually it grew to some of the coolest toys we grew up with. Hey, learning is fun. Learning about toy companies is fun. Hope you like this continued look at the names behind some famous toy companies. If you want a third part, let me know. If you don't want a third part, let me know. Comments are always responded to, and a share is appreciated. Tells YouTube to share it with other people. It's how their algorithm works. Thanks for watching.